Update. I found out that I wasn't my husband's first choice. Original post. My husband, 29, and I, 26, met online 3 years ago and we got married last May. We have had a great relationship and our wedding day was the happiest day in my life. My husband is so good to me and he makes me feel so loved and appreciated, and I love him so much. But everything changed last Monday. I was on my sister-in-law's baby shower, and when they didn't know I was listening, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and sister-in-law's best friend were in the kitchen talking about my husband and I. The friend said she liked me a lot, and my sister-in-law said she was happy I let Maddie go and settled with me, and that she never thought this would happen. I pretended that I didn't hear them, but I knew Maddie to be a close friend of my husband from college. He never mentioned that they were in a relationship. All I knew is that she moved to live in another city after graduation and that she couldn't attend our wedding. So since Monday, I have been pondering. I'm happy with him, but I wanted to know why he never mentioned anything about Maddie. So today, I did what any sensible wife would do, and I waited for him to go to work and started snooping around on his iPad. He doesn't know I know his code. I didn't even need to look for long. There it was. Tens, maybe hundreds of texts between them over a period of years. Before he met me and even after. From what I understood, he has asked her out many times and she has refused. Him telling her he would never love anyone like her, and she stopped him with a wink emoji that says, "I won't have you, but please do keep trying." One of Maddie's texts, right before we got married, was about how she knew she would eventually end up with him. My husband texts back that he was getting married soon and that he was happy. She answered, "You can always get a divorce," and my husband sent a cry, laughing, and winky emojis. She then texted, "If you chose between the two of us, who would you choose?" He answered, "You only want me when I'm not available." She answered, "Shut up. I know you still love me." He didn't answer. The last exchange between them was 3 weeks ago. She told him that she's moving back home and that she missed him and wondered if they could meet. He said, of course he wanted to meet. She asked him, "Wouldn't your wife mind?" Winky face. He answered, "Why should she?" She, "If she knew what I want to do to you, she should be worried actually." He, "Stop teasing, it won't work." She, "I'm not teasing. That poor woman won't stand a chance." She, "I called you, why didn't you pick up?" He, "We're having dinner, I will call you tomorrow." So that's all I could find. I haven't talked to him yet because I don't know how to approach the subject. I think there's definitely something between them. But I can't ask him because he would know that I went through his texts. I'm very hurt. I thought he loved me and that he was happy with me. I want to cry. I don't know what my next step should be. One moment I want to pretend I had no idea and wait for him to leave me. The next I want to run away and never come back. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Send a screenshot with just this segment. You can always get a divorce. And my husband sends a cry, laughing, and winky emojis with a message that says, "You got your wish," crying, laughing, and winky emojis. Seriously though, jokes aside, the fact that he hasn't even mentioned her to you makes me feel he won't ever be honest or loyal. The emojis killed me. What does it even mean? The problem is with women like her. I think it's interesting to her as long as he's married. The day I ask for divorce, is he gonna lose both? Of course. But he's too stupid to know that. She likes having him on a hook to boost her ego. Your sister-in-law already knew this all along. Yep, women can sense women who are like this a mile away. But try to tell men that and some will just say that women never understand her. Women are always jealous of her, etc. Nope. Women just know a shady pick-me chick when we see one. Hey Opie, I, 27 female, have been in your position. Trust me, they don't change. And know what? When I finally got the courage to leave years later, after a lot of cheating/manipulation on his part, I found the love of my life. I've never been happier. Point is, you don't have to stay. You will find happiness. Save yourself the time and all the extra heartache. Good luck. Definitely take screenshots and confront him. Do you know if he met up with this woman yet or if she moved back yet? I have been snooping on her IG. She's moving back December 1st. I don't know if I should confront him now or wait until she moved here. I am kinda curious about what he would do if she's here. But I don't know if he cheats it would kill me, although I feel like he already killed me. This whole comment section is a dumpster fire of bad advice. Talk to your freaking husband. Don't break stuff. Don't forward this text chain to everyone you know. And now for the first update. I don't believe the amount of people that were interested in my story. So many replies and upvotes that the post got locked. I knew I could find support online because I just couldn't be the only one with an indecisive douche for a husband, and I was not wrong. Before I continue, I need to say that I never expect to be my significant other's first love, and not even the last. I just expect to be the only one as long as he's chosen to be in my life, and I don't think that's too much to ask for. So please, people with "he has lived before you" comments, don't purposefully misinterpret what I'm saying. As I said in my last post, I have been pondering all week, and I just came to the conclusion that my/our situation is either bad or worse. Bad if my husband is innocent of cheating and is just liking the attention of the one that he once was tormented by. That would explain his aloofness and his very short replies. He wants her attention but nothing more. Worse is that he's having an emotional affair, and is either scared of trusting her fully, hence the vague text, or is just waiting for her to move back before making a move. Either situation isn't something I want to live with. Whatever anyone says about his text, I thought he showed little to no respect for me, and no love at all. I want someone to love me even behind my back, because it doesn't matter how much he shows me he loves me, it's what he doesn't show that matters. And please don't tell me they're friends. We're grown-ups. We don't put friends over spouses and family. It's not cool. So today I told him that I don't think it's working out for me and that I want a divorce. I thought about confrontation, but the outcome is the same, so why not save the drama? I don't care to know more about details about them, or maybe I care too much. He was very shocked and asked me if there was someone else, and I said no. I have been thinking, and this is not where I want to be in my life right now. He wanted to know more. Is it a question about having kids? Is it our living situation? He was mad, then sad, then mad again, and left. He texted that he wanted to talk more when he got home. Maybe I will regret not confronting him and hearing his side of the story, but something broke inside me when I saw how he was in his texts. I don't view him the same way now, and all I can think of now is to get out of this with my dignity intact. I can mourn what we had and cry later. Now for more advice before the final update. Tell him what you found. It's not about her winning. He should know his actions led to this outcome. He betrayed you, and this is the consequence of his betrayal. I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not disclosing what you found. I absolutely agree. Definitely tell him so he knows why. Opie doesn't have to change her mind no matter what he says, but let him know. Exactly my thoughts. Otherwise, he would think Opie's divorcing him out of the blue. He needs to know that he is the reason why this is happening. I would just confront him still so he can live with regret. If you don't tell him the truth, I'm afraid he's going to just get with a friend and live guilt-free because he feels as if you wanted to end it. Then she'll feel as if she won. And she angers me more than you know. But I would feel more satisfied having them know karma is going to get them both. It bothers me when individuals have no conscience and do whatever they want without any consequences. Just my opinion doesn't mean you should follow it. I agree. I feel he needs to know that his actions have led to this, rather than it looking like Opie deciding they just aren't interested anymore. Doesn't mean it has to be a conversation. A simple, "I have read XYZ, I don't need an explanation as it's clear enough. Please show me respect by not pushing this further." Do you think so? I think she would win if she knew I left him because of the flirting. Actually, I don't give a crap about her. What killed me was his actions and his text back to her advances. I'm sure she won't want him now that he's single. He's coming home later and he will probably pester me to tell him more. Let's hope I don't cave. You need to tell him why more reasons than that. 1, he will spin a narrative that you left him with no reason. You will look like the bad guy. And you will be the bad guy because he deserves to know why you're leaving. 2, he needs to be aware in how he messed up so that he can reflect on what he's done and take that lesson moving forward to his next relationship. 3, your kids might blame you or grow to resent you if they think you walked away from their dad without trying to fix things. Not saying to tell the kids the reason, but if everyone around them is saying mom divorced dad for no reason, that's gonna impact them. We don't have kids. We have been talking about one, etc. If we had kids, I would probably have handled it totally differently. I can't imagine altering my life so dramatically based on reading text messages, and then not confronting the person to get an understanding of what I read. Honestly, kind of crazy. Good luck. There was a lot more text than what I put in my first post. A lot. And if you read them, you would think I didn't even exist. As I said, she was mostly the instigator, but he did text first a couple of times. Like the one on his bachelor party. He texted first, saying he was so sad she didn't come. He wanted to see her one last time before he entered the cage. She answered that she had a key to that cage. He answered, haha. Now for the final update. I have read everything my husband written, and it's basically the same stuff he has been texting me since yesterday. He is embarrassing, actually, to see him call my feelings her crazy and putting women in leagues. I can't believe he still thinks this is fixable. He wants us to start counseling because we can't break up over something this stupid. He doesn't want to cut Maddie out because it will only prove that he has feelings for her, and must therefore block her to move on when it's untrue, and that he wasn't going to meet her alone but be one of the people who will help her move. Yes, husband is a doctor, Maddie's too. It doesn't mean he's smart though, because he isn't. I am a chef. One of the things Maddie, and probably many others, make sly remarks on. No, I haven't spoken nor do I intend to speak to her. Neither to tell her off or to tell her he's hers. I don't want anything to do with her. My problem is with my dear husband. I do think she's a pathetic, miserable, attention-seeking, home-wrecking hoe, but I will keep that to myself because my husband is the one who wronged me. If she and my husband end up together, it's only logical because he's also a pathetic, miserable, attention-seeking home-wrecker. A match made in heaven. I'm going to file for divorce and that's that. I'm so sorry for everything that has happened, and I'm sorry it was over a stupid thing, but I'm thankful that it happened sooner rather than later. Thank you. I'm sorry that you're going through this. It seems like there are some other issues that exist in your relationship, and this is the final straw. This is more than a silly text. It's disrespectful and untrustworthy, and you need both in a marriage. I hope you're doing okay. I'll leave a window that if you somehow work things out, that isn't bad either. Not encouraging you to, but I've ended relationships and had people say you dodged a bullet when I wasn't trying to dodge it, and I still care about the person. Stay strong. I still love him, but I love myself more. I posted something yesterday, but I think the fact that he's refusing to remove the antagonizing factor in all this is and will always be problematic. May you move forth in healing, in growth, and in true happiness. He still insists that if he cuts her off, she will think he has feelings for her. I don't know, but we talked a lot yesterday. I felt like he cared a lot about not giving her the idea that he had feelings for her. Why is it so important if he really doesn't care? Now for the last story. My wife is considering divorcing me after finding out the real reason we started dating. I love my wife very much and she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. However, our relationship started in what you can call a non-traditional way. First, some background information. My 34 male cousin, 35 male, and I have always had a friendly rivalry. Ever since we were children, we were always trying to one-up one another, and when it got to high school, it really amped up. If I bought a jacket, he would go out and buy a nicer jacket. If he bought the newest gaming system, I would purposely steal his games, even though I didn't own a Super Nintendo yet. Whenever I dated a girl or showed interest in a girl, he would swoop in and take her from me. It got so bad that we actually had a couple of physical altercations over it. Things came to a head when, long story short, he slept with my long-term crush. Let's call her Stacy. I vowed to get revenge. I noticed him talking to a girl from my class. Let's call her Jane. Being all flirty towards her, spending a lot of time with her, and so on. I didn't waste any time. I asked her out as soon as I could, and she said yes. Turns out she had a crush on me for a while, even though I did not find her remotely attractive. The date actually went really well. Turns out we shared a lot of the same interests. I kept dating her to rub it into my cousin because I noticed he was still talking to her between classes. Over time, I came to love Jane's personality and forgot the fact that I wasn't physically attracted to her. We dated all throughout university and we got married 5 years ago. I can't picture life without her. Now that COVID-19 restrictions have loosened up, we had Steven over for dinner. To my great surprise, Steven is currently dating Stacy, and it turns out they reconnected when they were both hired to the same company this summer. We were reminiscing about old times, and our rivalry came up. We had all been drinking at that point, and I mentioned that in high school Steven slept with Stacy because he knew that I had liked her. I then added, but the rivalry ended up working out for me. I asked Jane out as revenge because I knew you had a crush on her, and now we're married. I definitely should not have said this, as several people got upset when I revealed this information. Stacy was shocked that Steven had treated her like a prize and objectified her. Stephen revealed that he had never had a crush on Jane. They were just in the same math class and Jane was helping him with his schoolwork. He scoffed that Jane wasn't a prize after all, and I felt humiliated. I wasn't aware. I thought Jane was upstairs putting our daughters to sleep. She had been standing in the hallway behind me, listening into our whole conversation. I could see the horror in Stacy's face and realized that my wife was standing behind me, sobbing. Jane has always been very sensitive about not being one of the hot girls, and I had been the first boy to ever ask her out on a date. I started trying to apologize and explain that I love Jane very much now. I fell in love with her wonderful personality, her kindness, her intelligence, and so on. She didn't even listen to any of my heartfelt compliments and instead asked Stephen and I to leave the house. Now Stacy and Stephen have broken up, and he is blaming me. But even worse, my wife threatening to divorce me over this whole thing. She says our entire relationship was based on a lie, and she will never be able to look at me or our relationship in the same way. How can I convince her that my feelings for her might not have started out that way, but are very real now? I love this woman, and I love our marriage and the life we have built together. We have 2 young daughters, 3 and 1, and I don't want them to grow up in a broken home. What can I do to fix this? Let's go off the list. You haven't called her attractive once in the entire post. You let your cousin scoff and say she wasn't the prize, and you didn't argue at all. You admitted out loud you never liked her and dated her for a while still not liking her. You forgot that you weren't attracted to her, not that you became attracted to her. You openly admit the other woman sitting in front of you guys was your original target. Yeah, you totally blew it, and it sounds like you did very little to soothe her. You really make it sound like you love her personality but aren't attracted to her, which is a deal breaker for most people. No one wants to, / should ever hear that their spouse is with them in spite of their appearance. Like, damn man, I was coming in to say things change. Like you had an online to real life girlfriend I met in an online game who I only befriended to borrow an in-game item. But this is awful. Yeah, I was also expecting the story where he wasn't attracted to her when they first dated, but he is now. And this is not that. Stephen revealed that he had never had a crush on Jane. They were just in the same math class and Jane was helping him with his schoolwork. He scoffed that Jane wasn't a prize after all, and I felt humiliated. Why did you feel humiliated? Because he went for a woman that his idiot cousin didn't actually like, of course. How embarrassing for him.
Am I the a-hole for not apologizing for withholding financial support until my son passed his paternity test? I'm 55 male, have 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. My son is my oldest, and up until recently, I thought he was a decent man. Unfortunately, my daughter-in-law Tessa, 32 female fake name, showed me that I was wrong when she revealed that the reason she was divorcing my son was because he cheated on her multiple times and gave her an STD. She made a social media post with pictures of text messages and video recordings of messages he left, proving her side. I was shocked, and when I confronted my son, he said she was over-exaggerating and that the only reason he did it was because she wasn't putting out. Tessa gave birth to their second child 7 months ago, and their first child is 3 years old. I apologized to Tessa for my son's behavior, and then yelled at him for being so selfish, intentionally hurtful and cruel. I did not hide or downplay my disappointment, and was only silenced by my wife's defense of our son. I remembered how hard it was when my wife had our second daughter, and couldn't believe she didn't have a shred of sympathy for Tessa. Tessa's a sweet and smart person, and she didn't deserve what our son did. My wife has been letting our son stay in our house despite my wishes, saying that he needs our support, but I say he's in need of a hard lesson. We fought about this constantly. Eventually, my son accused Tessa of getting the STD from someone else and demanded a paternity test. I knew these claims were BS and saw red. I yelled at him for it, and his mother came to his defense, saying that a man had every right to know if his kids were his. I countered by demanding a test of my own, and my wife was offended. I moved out. She and my son sent others after me, either lying or exaggerating about what things were like at home, and I just got tired of defending myself. I was going to let things be until either my wife or son contacted my job and made hurtful accusations about a female employee I've been mentoring for the past year. And that's when I snapped, and now I'm filing for divorce. The house is paid off, so I'm willing to let her have it. But until a judge says so, I've stopped putting money in any of the accounts she has access to, and only make payments to the credit card with a $4,000 limit so she has money to buy groceries, get gas, and pay for her other expenses. I've also changed my main beneficiaries to my daughters and told my son that if he wanted a single cent of my money, he'd have to take a DNA test. He later did, and he passed, and I responded with an email acknowledgement that he was my son, as well as a copy of the re-updated will where he will receive 10% of my assets. My wife and son are demanding a public apology, but I don't feel like they deserve it. Am I wrong? Edit to add, just to be clear, since people seem to be skipping over it, my wife called my job and accused one of my mentees of getting special treatment in exchange for special favors from me and other men in the company. She made such a big public stink that HR is investigating, and my mentee is considering leaving due to the embarrassment and stress, not to mention the damage to my own professional reputation. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, but get your half of the house. Get a really good divorce lawyer. Document. Either that or get half the house's value and assets. Do not walk away from the investment in the house. She can either find a way to buy you out or sell and split the money. My sister made that mistake. It still haunts her. She was running from an abusive husband, so I get why she just wanted out. You are a great man, definitely not the a-hole. But don't just give her, your narcissist wife, the house. Also keep records and evidence, and please take care of Tessa and the kids, as their granddad, as much as you can while you can. Honestly, I'm not in love with the house and wanted to move and downsize anyway. Plus, if she gets the house and sells it, then that could be less I'd have to pay later on. Perhaps, but don't think for a minute she won't be vying for every penny she can get. You would be an idiot to start with you can have the house because then, her attention and demands get to be on everything else. She has already proven to you she fights dirty and you weren't even divorcing. Don't expect logic and acceptance of well he gave me that. She is coming for everything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my inheritance money to pay for my brother's wedding? I, 27 female, lost my dad 2 years ago. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through. In his will, he left me a significant amount of money, around $30,000, with a note that it was specifically to help me get on my feet, build my future, and have stability. He didn't leave the same amount to my older brother, 30 male, because my dad always said my brother was reckless with money and never saved a dime. Fast forward to now, my brother is engaged and his fiancée wants a huge extravagant wedding. They don't have anywhere near enough money to cover it. Somehow, my family got it into their heads that I should step up and use my inheritance to fund their big day, because Dad would have wanted the family together celebrating love. I said absolutely not. That money was my father's last gift to me. It's helping me pay down my student loans and put a down payment on a small house. I told them if they want a big wedding, they can either wait and save or scale back to something affordable. My brother and his fiancée blew up. She called me selfish. My brother said I was dishonoring Dad's memory, and my mom said, it's just money, but a wedding is once in a lifetime. Now extended family is on their side, saying I'm being greedy and tearing the family apart over dollars and cents. Here's the kicker. My brother has a history of blowing money on cars, gadgets, trips, and then asking everyone else to bail him out. I can't help but feel like if I gave in, I'd never see a penny of it back, and Dad knew exactly what he was doing by leaving the money with me and not with him. Still, I feel torn. I don't want to be the villain who ruined my brother's wedding, but I also don't think my future should be sacrificed for one day of partying. Am I the a-hole for refusing to use my inheritance to pay for my brother's wedding? Not the a-hole. That inheritance was specifically left to you for your stability and future. Your dad even acknowledged your brother's spending habits in his decision. Your family is trying to guilt you into throwing away the last gift your father gave you, and that's incredibly unfair. A wedding is one day, your future is decades. They can either scale back or wait until they can afford the wedding they want. It's not your job to bankroll it. That's exactly what I've been trying to say. My dad was very intentional when he divided things up, and I know he did it thinking about my future and the fact that my brother has always been reckless with money. It just feels so unfair that I'm being guilt-tripped for wanting to respect my dad's last wishes. And you're right, a wedding is one day, but I have to think about the decades ahead of me. The fact they are trying to say your dad would want you to use the money for your brother's wedding is laughable. If he wanted it used for that purpose, he would have left it for that purpose. Your dad made his intentions clear, even addressing why he wasn't leaving it to your brother. Sounds like you are honoring your dad's wishes, and he would be proud of the way you are thinking of your future. You don't need an excuse, even if he were the world's best brother, he's not, and she were the world's best fiancé, she's not. They need to keep their hands out of your pocket. It blows my mind that they feel so entitled to money that was never theirs. If I had asked them for a cent in my life, they'd laugh in my face, but somehow I'm expected to bankroll their wedding. Nah. Not the a-hole. Do not give in to this peer or family pressure BS. The pressure has been non-stop. It feels like I'm the bad guy for not handing over money that was never meant for anyone else in the first place. I'm tired of being guilt-tripped when the real issue is my brother refusing to live within his means. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving any money for cancer care for my dad's stepchild? I, 19 female, have been very low contact with my dad since I moved out in April 2024. Very low contact, meaning I replied to him once since then, and exactly 0 times until this. Then he asked for us to talk on the phone a couple of months ago. I didn't, so he sent me a long text saying one of his stepkids has cancer, and they are raising money to afford all the surgeries and treatments they will need. He has 2 other stepkids, all under 8, and he was saying it was a necessity to keep their heads above water. He sent me a link to a GoFundMe that was set up for donations to help them out. When I didn't reply, he told me he knew I got a partial scholarship for college, had help from my mom's parents, and had money my mom left me. She died 2 years ago. He said I could afford to give a few thousand, if not tens of thousands. He said this was about a sick child, who is my family, and 2 other kids who are also my family, who need to be taken care of. He begged me to care and overlook the fact that I don't have a relationship with the kids in question or his wife, and help because we're still a family. I didn't donate, and I replied saying I would not be donating and he needed to just accept what others would give. He kept spamming me with updates and any social media posts they made where they ask for money because of the costs. I didn't read any of them, I just ignored it and muted him for a week. About a week ago, he said they were already facing challenges because his wife quit her job to care for her sick child. I didn't reply, but he started to get pissy and accused me of being heartless and selfish because I don't need the money more than them. Dad has no idea how much I have. Since he and mom weren't together, he never had access to what she left me and was never given any info by me or my grandparents. I think he has a pretty good idea it's more than $5,000 or even $20,000, but he doesn't know. Figures were never discussed. So I can't just tell him I can't afford it, but I had already decided I wouldn't donate. And he's getting more frustrated with me because I know they're having difficulty and still won't help. Am I the a-hole for not donating? I was always planning on going no contact, but after this, I feel like I might need to bring that forward because we're not coming back from any of this. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry. No contact is the answer. Thanks, it's okay though. I've known for a long time that this was coming. If it were me, I would donate $100 and then go no contact. That way it shuts down his future claims that you never helped. When it comes to your inheritance from your mother, I would just lie and say it is in a trust that you cannot access for many years. When I worked for attorneys, that's what they told people to say who inherited money, when all the distant relatives came out of the woodwork with their hands out. It usually shuts people down because they want money now. And if you say you cannot access it for a long time, they used to recommend saying until retirement, which is usually quite far in the future, the users would normally back off. But going no contact will save you a lot of grief. I'm sorry you didn't win the dad lottery, but there is no reason to be in contact with someone who basically just wants to use you for money and free babysitting. Not the a-hole. No contact is the answer. He's looking for you only because of the money. You're going through college on your own means. He hasn't contributed. And now he wants your mother's inheritance for his family? What about the kid's father and his family? They should be helping. You're about to go to college or already in college, so being heartless and selfish because you don't need the money more than them isn't the truth. Of course they need money, but it's their priority, not yours. You don't even know the kids, and suddenly they are family? His choices don't have to affect yours. He decided to become a stepdad to kids you don't even know. They are his family, not yours. Although I would donate like $20 to the GoFundMe just because I would do that for anyone in need. That feels like the right move now. I think this has just given me the push to do it sooner rather than later. Just pull the plug and do it. He's never going to stop, especially since he knows you have money to spare. Don't ever tell anyone how much you have either. Good luck, OP. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to share a bed with my ex-wife again? I, 41 male, was married to my ex-wife, 37 female, for a while. We started dating when she was 24. Although she had more sexual experience than me at the time, she said I was the first guy to treat her to proper dates, and not just casual hookups. We got engaged 20 months after we met, got married, and eventually had our daughter, who's now 12. My ex always seemed to be searching for something more in life, but I couldn't figure out exactly what. Over time, that dissatisfaction grew, and our marriage unraveled when she cheated. I don't let that affect me too much, though it still stings. We separated 2 years ago, and our divorce was finalized last year. Since then, I haven't dated seriously, but she moved on pretty quickly. She dated a few guys before settling with Mark, 45 male, about 10 months ago. He seems like a good guy, and my daughter likes him, so I don't have any issues with him. Mark is a former football player, so he's got a solid athletic build. You can tell he had a lot of muscle back in the day, but now he's in that muscular but carrying some extra weight phase. Not unhealthy, just not as fit as he used to be. Think Shaq post-retirement. I have a beach house that we used to visit as a family, but after the divorce, I've been taking my daughter there on weekends. Last week, when I went to pick her up at my ex's house, she asked if she could come along because Mark was away on a work trip and she was bored. I said sure, no problem. The issue came up that night when she hopped into bed with me like we were still married. I asked about it, and she told me Mark wouldn't mind. Nothing happened, of course, but I wasn't comfortable with the situation. A few days later, she texted asking if she could stay again while Mark was busy next week. I waited to talk to her in person, and I explained that I wasn't okay with her sharing my bed while she's in a relationship. She said Mark wouldn't mind, but I asked if I could hear that directly from him. She got upset and accused me of being jealous of her relationship. Who cares if Mark wants it? Do you want it? Signs point to no. She can find a new place to vacation. Stop bringing your ex places. Not the a-hole. Some of y'all are missing the point of my statement. OP clearly doesn't want to share a bed, and that's reason enough to say no. Mark's opinion doesn't even enter into this. OP should say no for his own sake. Better yet, the ex-wife should hop into the daughter's bed to share instead of OP, being both uncomfortable with the idea of the ex-wife sharing his bed again and the unwelcome image of the current boyfriend being nonchalant. Not the a-hole. She's a cheater. She might be looking to do it again. Don't let her use you. My first thought. She is tired of the new one and is pushing boundaries to see if she still has a chance with OP. First, she asks to come on a trip, and he says yes. Then she jumps in his bed. He says nothing. Next, she will try to jump on him. Then he will be in a messy love triangle. Not to mention, this is bad for the kid witnessing this. Those boundaries are very important to all involved, so everyone knows their place. What husband or wife would be okay with this? Maybe one that has his own side piece when he goes away for work. I would hit the ceiling and call a divorce attorney. If my spouse and their ex pulled this vacation crap, they would both be gone from my life. OP needs a backbone, and she is playing games with these two guys. Period. Sounds like she's bored of Mark, or now you look more physically fit than Mark, so now she wants a taste. I hope your daughter takes after you and not her mother. I don't know how she feels about my looks compared to Mark's, but I am pretty sure Mark could beat me up very easily if it came to a physical confrontation, haha. So that is yet another reason to avoid getting involved in this whole thing.